Okay.
Okay.
Is he praying now?
Derrick, you're a Hampton grad,
Yes, sir.
so the colonel is Norfolk State and Hampton grad. So
We'll take him as long as he has a little Hampton in him. We got him. It's just that cowboy thing I got to get over. I'm still trying to work through that.
take a pill. Take a pill.
2 against 1. I must keep my mouth. I'm done. Keep my mouth closed.
Yeah.
Early rising on today, and give you for all that you've done, all that you will do. We ask that you would, you have always anoint these who will come off these airways, that they may give us the knowledge and information that we need to become who you have called us to be. Father, we give you thanks. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And thank you, Bishop. Appreciate that. And good morning to you, Bishop. And I want everybody to continue to watch after this show. Watch Bishop, and as he continues his show. Every day we rise is a great day to be alive. And the Seven Cities Forums of Hampton Roads presents Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And good morning, everyone. And good morning to my co-host.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Colonel Chapman.
Yes.
I want to say, first of all, how about them Cowboys? And
Yes.
to the the Washington,
Football team.
congratulations on your victory yesterday.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
that. I'm giving it up for everybody today. But anyway, just had to start off with that. But thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning, especially you listeners on WGPL 1350 AM on your radio dial, the Christian Broadcasting Company. And we have a special guest this morning, and Leah is going to introduce him. And after she introduces him, you'll know why she's introducing him.
Well,
Go ahead.
it is my pleasure this morning to have with us none other than my son-in-law, Derrick Powell. Derrick Powell is the global head of basketball at Quality Control Sports. A little bit about Quality Control. Quality Control Sports helps basketball athletes maximize their full potential by empowering them under the leadership of highly experienced professionals. They cultivate essential virtues into their players, developing the skills needed to achieve career success and identify opportunities to build relationships that enhance their careers after basketball. Now, Derrick Powell is a 20-plus year veteran in the business of professional basketball. He's highly regarded and very well respected among both his peers and clients. Through his sincerity and authenticity, Derrick has created a reputation as a trustworthy and respected relationship builder throughout the professional basketball circle. His network reaches everyone in the game, from the parents of players to the college coaches and trainers. Derrick also has relationships with all 30 general managers and, most of all, the coaches running the elite athletes of the NBA. Derrick has worked with some of the biggest names in basketball while representing multiple first-round and second-round NBA draft picks throughout his career from 2014 to 2019. Derrick averaged at least one draft pick per NBA draft. Derrick has negotiated over $250 million in player contracts, as well as several shoe deals for his NBA clients, including one of the largest shoe deals for a rookie that Nike had done in over 10 years at that time. Derrick's philosophy in representing players is to do what you are supposed to do for the right reasons, and success will follow you. Derrick is a graduate and 4-year letterman in basketball at one of the most prestigious HBCUs in the country, Hampton University. And his claim to fame, however, is the fact that he's married to my daughter and he's the father of my grandkids. So, Derrick, we say welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. We are so blessed to have you here on this morning because Derrick, oh, look at Virginia Union Parrots. Oh my goodness, he put it up there. But Derrick, I have watched you grow in this career, and I know that it has not been an easy path for you. But however, you are a testimony that hard work, trust in the plan, great things will happen as a result of that. So I want to say welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk this morning, Derrick DC Powell. Now, before Derrick gets started, I have to tell you all a little story about Derrick.
Oh my God.
I was doing long-term sub work in Norcom High School. And I had this kid in my classroom. And this kid used to walk around with this dog fictitious dog on a leash. He was constantly talking to his dog and petting his dog. And I was like, oh, this little crazy boy here in this classroom. And so I was on a train coming from DC and happened to be sitting beside this lady. And I was telling her about this boy in my classroom and how he just walked around with this. It was the sweetest kid in the world, but he had this fictitious dog that he walked around all day long. And she says, what's his name? I said, his name is Derrick. I said, but for some reason they call him DC. She said, that's my son. So you got to be careful what you say about people at different times. And the topping on this pudding is the fact that I met Derrick first before my daughter met him. And having met Derrick, not knowing that Derrick's father was Junie Powell. And Junie was my neighbor who lived one street behind me. So how ironic is that? And what a circle we have gone through. So welcome this morning, Derrick. I tell a few things about you before you guys get to talking about basketball and leave me out of the equation. So good morning, Derrick, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk.
Good morning and thank you. And Mom, don't forget the fact that my aunt was my mother-in-law's sister, my Vernell.
My oldest
and my Aunt Ree were best friends.
Best friends. My older sister's best friend.
And this was all unknown when she was on the train with my mother. So it's a funny story in a short circle.
Because he had got moved to DC. Junie had moved to DC, so there was no connection there, So such a circle we have come through. So, and it's been a good circle too. So guys, it's on you now. I'm gonna let you all take them on now. Take on this basketball, global, what is all of this stuff here? Global head of basketball at Quality Control Sports.
So I'll say you had that trust and connection and it just went full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Get away from that trust and connection. Full
I'm telling you.
Right back to it. That's a great story. That's a great story.
And now I've been married to my wife now 25 years and been with her 27. So been around her a long time, very long time.
And I also had that Hampton University connection as well.
Yeah.
Both of them are Hampton grads.
Let's get into you. And as far as you being in the sports agency field, what took you to that? I know you were an athlete and was high school and college?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I received a basketball scholarship at Hampton University, so I played ball over there for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to always be self-aware. I knew that I was good enough to get a degree, but I also understood that the NBA level was a different monster, and I wasn't qualified or at that point to be an NBA player. So I wanted to stay around basketball even back then. I had a roommate from Portsmouth as well named Marvin Childs.
Mhm.
Peggy Brick is his mother.
Yeah, yeah.
Marvin was a heck of a basketball player. And if he had interest in the game, more interest in the game, I should say, he would have been a great NBA player. But needless to say, Marvin, we were getting Willis Reed called our room. That was my roommate. And Willis Reed called our room when Marvin was at Hampton. And I actually had a conversation with Willis Reed. And at that point, I knew, I think that was like my junior year. I knew at that point that I wanted to represent NBA players. I wanted to help our kids take the next step forward and benefit from their talents.
Yeah, you know, it couldn't be but so many Rick Mahorns coming out of Hampton. And
And that's
but
I just had lunch with Rick. I just had lunch with Rick on Saturday.
is that right?
No, Friday. Yeah. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
very close. His name is Derrick. Derrick Mahorn.
Oh, okay. Knew that. But
Yeah.
you know, coming out or being involved in sports, and you know, I never knew. You know, you always see a lot of athletes, and I don't think that was your major, but you see a lot of athletes coming out now and they're majoring in sports management. And I never knew what that entailed. You know, sometimes, you know, you see them majoring in sports management or sports medicine or something like that. And I never entail. And talk about how important it is in getting in that field to have that kind of educational background. A lot of young men think that just because they're in sports, that that's an easy field or that's a field that they want to go into, but it's a lot involved in trying to break that barrier that might be up, especially for some Black athletes getting into that field, representing other players.
Yeah, well, it is extremely hard. My major was mass communications.
Which
So,
is connected.
yeah, and they didn't have sports management when I was at Hampton, but it's sad to say, and being completely honest, just because you're a sports management major don't mean that you have what it takes to be a sports agent. I used to tell colleagues all the time, just being an agent doesn't mean you'll be successful because you have to go out and get these clients. Now, anyone without a personality will not be successful at this business these days. Back before I actually became active as a sports agent, most kids were going to the white agents because they had the finances and they showed the optics. They had the resources and the optics, right? So everybody's normally drawn to that. So these guys were signed with an agent without any relationship. And at the end of the day, a lot of these guys were taken for a ride. Now, parents are knowledgeable, more knowledgeable. Social media has opened the door for all the information in the world. And they don't just want, or they should not just want, just a businessman, because what a businessman will do is do what's best for his business. And that's not always what's in your best interest. But someone that you can build a relationship will think of you while doing your business. So they would tend to do more things that's best for you as a client, opposed to just doing what's best for their business. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get in it. I wanted to change that narrative, man. I just wanted to do right by our kids.
Yeah, and I think one more thing, I think you said you have to have a personality and you also have to have a thick skin and a care for, a care for another human being, like you said. And if you care for them, your business success will follow, if you put them first. Because sometimes you're dealing with athletes that, kind of stuck on themselves and you have to really be able to recognize that and deal with that and know the real person and not
You,
the person
you
that the media puts out there. You
and
know,
also,
Yeah.
Slim, you have to be able to deal with the parents now. I've
yeah, the
seen Derrick
parents
go
are,
through many, many changes, not with the players, but with the parents of the players. So
Mhm.
you have to be able to be authentic in working with them as well, because as he said, these parents are more knowledgeable now as a result of social media. And if you're not authentic, you're not going to get anywhere with these athletes.
Yeah. And it's such a tough deal. I mean, I think everybody likes to say, oh, I know I can be a sports agent because I know this guy and I know that guy. And I know if I signed every guy that I knew or even know, I'll be the biggest agent in the business. I know LeBron James. I know Draymond Green. Man, Draymond talk constantly. I know I've been around Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. I've been around Michael Jordan. I have a link to so many different players. Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant, I can reach Kevin Durant whenever I need to. But I know I'm not going to be able to represent him. I've been knowing, me and his uncle played Little League football together years ago. His mother, we're pretty close. But that doesn't mean that I can represent him. That means that I have a good relationship with him. He knows what I do. And, you know, he decided to do something else as far as representation. I can't be mad with him. He made a personal decision. But just because you know someone don't mean that you can be an agent. And I think that the way that I went about doing it, 80% of the agents in this business would not be willing to take that risk. But I believed in me.
Mhm.
And the prayers from mothers and people like Liz Stith and family and faith and all that played a huge part in my growth. So where I am today is nothing but a blessing from God.
Yes.
so
But
getting with the company, where did you have to start as far as with the company? What level did you come in with the company as far as position and to get to where you are? Did you come right in as a sports agent or representing athletes?
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story if you got some time.
Yeah,
Well, my wife's cousin is a guy by the name of Brian Stith. Brian Stith played in the NBA for several years.
yes, indeed.
Brian introduced me to his agent. And I came in saying the same thing some of these young guys saying. Well, I know this guy, I know this kid. So Brian introduced me to his agent. I went and sat with his agent's a really nice guy. Still in the business. He represents Steph Curry now, Jeff Austin. So I go sit with Jeff, and Jeff basically tells me, if you get me the player, I'll make sure you're compensated. I'm a prideful guy. I do a lot of things on principle. And I left that meeting, I guess he probably felt he was doing me a favor, but I left that meeting with an attitude of, I'm not a runner. And a runner is somebody that goes chase players and bring them back to someone else.
Mhm.
That's what's labeled a runner in this business. So I'm not a runner. I'm knowledgeable, I'm educated. I'm not getting a player for you to sign. I want to be an agent. I'm going to sign it myself.
Mhm.
So at that point, I wasn't even registered at this time. At that point, I started my own hustle. I would go watch basketball players, found an overseas connect, try to connect the overseas guys first as the agent. PIT came around. I had some business cards printed up. It was at the PIT. And there was a kid named, I can't remember his last name. First name was Damien from Portsmouth, played at North Carolina State. Now, mind you, I have no business being in that situation with a guy of that high status. He's projected to go second round. I'm working off of instincts at this point. So my cousin, Danny Gallon, He was with Prime America back then. He's a financial guy, Prime America. So I said, look, cuz, this is what we need to do. I'm trying to get a meeting with this guy, but I got to bring a financial guy in to talk finances. We know nothing about it, nothing about the business. I got a meeting with this guy. Now, mind you, I have no business being in this meeting. I have no experience at all. Went down to North Carolina, NC State. We met with him. I did my 1-2. Damon called me that night and said, DP, I really want to go with you, but I think I'm going to need somebody with more experience. I appreciated that because of his honesty. But what that let me know at that point was, for you to come down to the final 2 with no experience, this is the seat you need to be in. So I took that and I ran with it. I ended up getting registered with the NBA. First year in it, I signed this kid named Devin Brown, who was not a highly looked after. The first pro I signed, NBA guy I signed, was Devin Brown. He wasn't looked to be a heck of a pro. He was a mid-major guy, really good player with all the scoring records in San Antonio. I represented him most of his career. Ended up playing with San Antonio Spurs, had a championship ring. Then I signed a kid, Billy Thomas, right in the same time frame. Billy Thomas was with the New Jersey Nets. That showed that showed me that I could be successful in this business with the work, putting in the work relentlessly, just going at it.
And it requires a lot of work.
A lot of time.
Yes.
A lot of time. And initially, going into this business, a lot of people don't know, my wife was not a fan of it.
Mm-mm.
She was not a fan of me doing this business because a lot of school teachers are set in a lane where they know what they're going to make each year. And that's comfort. That is safety. We're a young couple. So she wanted to know that she was going to be provided for, that bills are going to be paid, so on and so forth. And I respected that. But one thing I do respect from her, she trusted me. And the rest is history.
Colonel?
That's a good point. One, I need to put the disclaimer out for the radio station and for the electron world is the views discussed on this program are those of the host and our guests and not of the radio station. So I need to put that out there too. And then so the other piece is I need to put this out as far as housekeeping goes, is that for those out there that we also have to pay some bills also. And then so if you'd like to donate or join a sponsorship with us, you can send a remuneration to Portsmouth Coffee Talk at P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23707. So what I have to do as I get back to our guest is, I spent of my 36 years in uniform, 9 of those years was in some capacity in higher levels in the grassroots level of recruiting. And you talked about your first recruit, and also you talked about talking with parents. And it brought me back to remember is that I signed more people by talking to their parents and the wives and the relatives. And I've actually had swore one person in because I went to an ICU at 12 o'clock and swore them in, got a commission as mama was taking the last breath in an ICU.
Ooh. And
so that the daughter or the granddaughter could, be there and take this commission as an Army Nurse Corps officer in front of, the most respected family member in their family as they passed on to, into the afterlife. But when I look at athletes today, and I see that first contract, we signed that first contract, which should be, we talk about, I'm going to buy mama a house, buy this, that. But that contract should be a bridge to that generational wealth. But 5 years after they retire or out of the league, they're working down at Walmart, they're broke, or they're robbing some stores. So you as a sports agent, what is your piece with, just when you sign your athlete, what kind of talk do you have them? You tell them take the bag of money and be out at 3 o'clock in the morning with your Corvette running at 3 o'clock in the morning, like the boy out there in Las Vegas and killing people or whatever. What's the talk do you have some of these young men? They've never seen this kind of money, and they got all the hangers on crabbing at them.
I just tell my clients exactly, I treat my clients the way I would treat my family.
Right.
It's no different. And I tell my kids, make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be perfect, but try to make good decisions. If you ask Jared Allen to this day, I say, man, look, I just want to tell you one thing. He'll say this, I know, be careful. That's what I have instilled in these guys. So one thing about their money, I don't touch their money. I don't want to be involved with their money at all. One thing I will do is set up 2 or 3 financial institutions that I've dealt with over my career, and I have you and your family sit down with them.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, whoever you choose, that's who you choose. And we will do checks and balances every so often on them to make sure that your stuff is rolling the way that it should roll, but I don't touch it. Because one thing about being an agent and connecting money to that, the money goes wrong, you're dead. You're fired immediately. So you just try to find a way to kind of teach them at the same time of letting them grow and learn in that particular lane.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm not the guy that, it's just so many people, even in life, that tries to control every lane of life, even lanes they don't have experience in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have experience in the financial lane. So there's no way I'll even give you advice on how to spend your money necessarily. I just tell you a couple of things I do know, like your first contract. The misconception about NBA players or NBA agents is the guy got paid, so you're rich. Far from it. Far from it. So a rookie deal for an NBA player is your first 2 years are guaranteed. Your 3rd year is a team option. Your 4th year is a team option. So they have 2 option years. So at that point, I tell my clients, don't do any major invest in your first contract.
Mm-hmm.
Stack your money, save as much as you can. And then when you get paid, get the real contract, your second contract, then you can do some different stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I tell my guys.
Mm-hmm.
And to go back a little bit to answer Slim's question about at what position I came in, I actually started my own company first. I just dealt with me. My wife didn't believe in it. I jumped out of there, ran my own company. I was burning both ends of the candle. I was a paralegal during the day, an agent at night. And the old saying, you can't serve 2 masters. That's an honest saying. I was getting up in the morning. My wife will attest to this. I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go downtown to my office, work to 7:30, 8 o'clock, come home, take a shower to be back in my office at 9:30, work that all day, come home with the family, get up. I would do that constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually driven to a gentleman's house, slept outside the house in my car, brushed my teeth with a bottle of water in the morning, fixed my tie, going to present. So the grind that I had to go through, 80% of the people won't be willing to do it because everybody thinks that it's a ready-made business, and it's just not. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my own company, did that for like 5 or 6 years, partnered with a guy to Las Vegas who's one of my best friends to this day, a guy named Michael Higgins. Now, Michael Higgins worked with Michael Jordan, a couple of those guys in his heyday. So he and I worked the business for a while. We represented Tony Allen, Antoine Walker, Najee Muhammad, a good group of guys. Ended up taking our business, going to Excel Sports, which is one of the top sports agencies in the business. So I worked with Excel for 2.5 years, learned a lot there, but wanted to grow more. I'm always on the steps too.
Derrick, let me stop you 1 minute because
Yep.
we have to end the radio portion, and we'll continue with the Facebook portion of it, Facebook Live. And
Okay.
I'd like to thank all the listeners on WGPL 1350 AM for listening. And want you to know we love you. We love that you listen and support us. We really appreciate it. And join us next week as we will have one of our resident guests, Dr. Ernestine Duncan, here to talk about being thankful and other mental health issues that we go through during the holidays. So join us next week. You'll enjoy that program as well. So Derrick, continue on. Just had to break that off.
No, I understand. Thank you. I was at Excel, and a gentleman by the name of Jim Tanner, good guy to the DC area, was starting his own firm. And he called a lot of general managers throughout the NBA and asked, listen, I want to start a firm here in DC. I want somebody that's local. Who do you suggest? And he said that every team to a T told them that I would be a great fit for his company. So he brought me as the vice president of the company, and we went from a startup company to top 10 in the agency business in 7 years. I had my hand on every player. Jim and I worked very, very well together, and we did a lot of great things. We got to a point where it was time for me to make a move after 7.5 years to help myself develop, grow, and implement some of the things that I wanted to implement. And quality control sports. And now quality control, people who are not familiar with them, they have a huge entertainment side from Cardi B, well, the Migos, Lil Baby, who is the hottest rapper on the market right now, in the business. And 2 young Black men, African-American males, got together, put this nice company together, and just showing the entertainment world that here are some things that we can do if we all work together. So they started a sports division a couple of years ago. They have quite a few NFL and baseball players. The head of the baseball group is a young lady named Sharice Dash, female, and she's killing it on the Major League Baseball side. Brad Sicalo is a big-time NFL agent, doing a lot of great things. We have Alvin Kamara, who's one of the hottest football players in the league, and they wanted to start a basketball division. And Kevin Lee, who's actually an HBCU grad at St. Aug, wanted to start a basketball division, and he and I had some conversation, came as the global head of basketball, and we're going to grow it and having the ability to do what we say we're going to do with our clients is going to be a very successful move for me and for the company.
I like the forward vision that y'all have. You got to grow, because if you stay the same size, then you will end up dying or being absorbed. And so you keep growing like you're doing. Yes. And so
I like that.
Yes. And also like when you said you have a division of church and state when it comes to the sports side, signing your client, and the money side.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see is maybe anecdotal is that we need to educate some of these young athletes coming up, because they've never seen this kind of money. Mamas and daddies have never seen this kind of money. And you might have to go back and say, hey, we're going to, just like you work in your sport, you're going to have to work on the financial end to learn about simple things as what is a mutual fund? And should I be putting away in the NBA retirement fund or NFL retirement fund, which a lot of athletes don't do, is what they do, what they should be doing more of. And or being the what I call the Gronk theory is just live off your endorsement and save this check that you're getting from the pro league. And so do you also have those kind of goals and objective talks with your clients saying, what is your 5, 10, 20 year, what do you want to be in 20 years?
I do. I do.
And what you gonna do when you care if you need?
Those are very sensitive but very needed conversations that I often have. And the funny thing is, the guys that get endorsement deals, and this is crazy because a lot of people don't realize this. There's a very small percentage of guys who will get endorsement deals that will hold them up financially. Very few. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, those guys they can do an endorsement deal that will hold them up. But these guys get in the NBA and they think, oh, I'm gonna get endorsements because I'm in the NBA. That's not a reality. And I just try to educate guys on the reality of the business first. Then I said, look, how long do you want to play this game? A lot of guys have no idea. A lot of guys say they want to play 17 years, 15 years. And the reality of that is the average career of an NBA player is like 4 years. That's average. So you always have to surround yourself with the right people, I think.
Right, yes.
And just somebody that's going to tell you the truth. I mean, I tell guys all the time, there's 2 things I'm not going to do to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to kiss your butt. Outside of that, we can do a lot of good business, but if that's what you're expecting, I'm not the guy for the job. It's just simple for me. I mean, we all put our pants on the same way. You just have an elite skill, but I try to show them the statistics, right?
Right.
A lot of guys get drafted and last 2 years. And like you said earlier, these guys are looking for regular jobs at Walmart after that because they don't have a skill. They don't have an education. Their only skill is basketball. Now that's taken away from you. What's next? So I try to get them to stay focused, and also attitude. Attitude weighs heavy in the league because if your attitude is bad, nobody's going to want to touch you after that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nobody. So you got to just try to do the right things for the right reasons. You have to.
You know, the other piece is sometimes when you're having that hard talk, you got to say, hey, you got to let your boys go. Your entourage that you took back, that you brought with you from the hood, and I'll say the hood, they ain't doing you no justice. And you got to let them go. You can't fund everybody. And the other thing, too, is you're talking about endorsement deals. Do you think it's discriminatory to a lot of the athletes that get all tatted up and you can't represent such and such company on TV with stars going out in your head and like Mike Tyson and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So what's your attitude on that? Your advice to those who want to get tatted up?
Well, I'll say that, like, certain guys that will get tatted up that aren't at that level. When I say that level, I mean the level of endorsement status. I can't control your life.
Right.
I will say things like, "Oh my God, no, you're not." That doesn't make sense. And they'll continue. Like, it's a guy represented named Michael Beasley. Mike is tatted up all over the place.
Yes. But
he has been tagged outside of tattoos unfairly, I think. They judge Michael
as a bad boy.
But Michael is one of the sweetest guys you ever will meet. Ever. And he's made some decisions, but people fail to realize that we're all human. And if you don't have the guidance, some of the decisions you're going to make are going to be bad decisions, and not the guidance from an agent, the guidance from youth. So a lot of athletes are done, I think, Some guys deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't. But if you don't take the time to get to know the guy, or
Mm-hmm.
know the kid, or know the player, you're doing them an injustice.
Yeah.
You know, people cry about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's a very, very intelligent guy, extremely intelligent guy. Some of the decisions he makes may not be a decision that we will make,
Mm-hmm.
but that being said, it's still his decision.
Right.
So you can't really fault him for the decision he's making. I tell people this all the time. Just because I don't make the decision that you will make, don't make me a bad person.
Right.
And we need to realize that about everybody else. There's only one. I'm one of one.
Right.
So our views may not match up, but it doesn't make my view less important to me.
Right.
So people just get this thing, they look at this thing the wrong way. Basketball becomes a real business. It's all fictitious. What you see on the basketball court and what these young guys believe that it is, I'm willing to bet you they're 100% wrong. It's a fictitious game. It becomes business.
Right.
You can be better than the guys in front of you, but hey, the guys in front of you been here 3-4 years. We trust him, and he's making X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Right.
a tough call.
Yeah, you know what, and it's a good point about they make their own decisions. So long as they understand is say if I'm the agent says, and you say Kyrie, you've made this decision and you have to, what you are going to live with it. And
Yes.
But the business side is this. You're putting this at risk because you have an extension pending that the Nets aren't going to sign you guaranteed money because of this.
Yep.
But if you want to live with it, sit on the sidelines and wear a suit and a mask and continue not to get the checks. But that's your decision.
Right. And they have to be educated on that, right? So it's one of those things where, and I tell my guys all the time, just understand that this decision we're making is your decision.
Yes.
Now, I'm willing to ride with you. I'm willing to live with you, die with you on this one, as long as I'm educating you on what will happen if you do this.
Yeah.
And you understand the repercussions of it all. So
yeah.
It's just relationships, man. It's just relationships.
Slim?
Yeah, Derrick, I think it's all about controlling the narrative. You can't control the Shannon Sharps and the Stephen A. Smiths, you know, what they say and how they portray different athletes, but a lot of people listen to that. And controlling the narrative to me is making sure you give back, like Finney Smith does here in the city of Portsmouth. Every year he comes back and holds this big thing and giving back to your community. And that's what people will remember you for. And, you know, they have people tatted up now in the corporate world. So the tattoos, you know, that's the perception that people have. You know, I had it at one time, somebody, if you're tattooed up here, what are you going to do in the corporate world if you're tattooed up here? But it's about controlling the narrative. But let me go back to you, Derrick, you know, as far as your goals, and you can't achieve your goals and your dreams if you don't pursue them. But you can't do that alone. And you are pursuing these dreams, and you have to have that family, but you also have to make sure you make time. You know, you said the job you had with burning, you know, both ends of the candle, but then in between burning that candle, you got a family. So you have to also make sure you're being that dad, you know, at all these different functions that come up and everything like that. And I know that's a big part of your life too, because I see all the pictures and you're everywhere something is happening. And I'd be wondering, how does he get business? You know, but you have to make sure. I mean, that's a sacrifice that parents, and I don't call it a sacrifice. That's something that parents do, make sure they're there for their kids, but you're also following that dream. So how do you put all that together, you know, as far as accomplishing all that and putting family first, but still going out there and doing all those things we were talking about?
I think it starts with communication. I was blessed to have a wife that, and she gets stubborn. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yes.
But if you have a conversation with her, get her to understand what you're doing. So for me, I've always made my family a part of what I was doing. Now, I miss my son's, and she'll never let me live this down, but I miss my son's first birthday. His very first birthday, I missed that. But when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm home, I'm home. I don't go out. I don't do a whole lot of that stuff without my family. So I always had this thing where if I landed today at 5, me and my family were going to dinner that night because I call it a reconnecting period. When I'm gone 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, I'm just a family person. If I had a client that was in DC playing, me and my whole family will go to the games. I made my family a part of my business. And my wife doesn't, she's not a basketball fan, not a huge basketball fan anyway. But I made sure that my clients knew my family. Tony Allen is one of the biggest examples. My mother-in-law fixed dinner for Tony Allen at my house.
Mm-hmm.
Tony came to town, Hawaiian chicken, I'll never forget it. And he's in there playing video games with my son. That's the relationship that I tried to build. Another client, Lawrence Simonson, came to the house for Christmas dinner. It was Christmas or Thanksgiving, one of those dinners. And when my grandmother was alive, Rebecca Drake, and all she kept saying was, "This boy's 7 feet tall, 10 feet tall." She kept just saying that all night. This boy 10 feet tall. But that's the relationship that I try to cultivate because family and business does have a place. But once you intertwine them, your family tends to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
And let me tell you a
So
little story about Derrick now. And I know I use my son-in-law quite a bit because I was meeting with some judges in Utah. That's when I was in the marketing world for behavioral health. And I was meeting with the judges and they were talking about how much they liked basketball. So I called Derrick to get us some seats to the basketball game. And he got us these perfect seats to the basketball game. And these judges, there was nothing I could ask these judges for that they would not give to me because they had the opportunity to sit front and center at the basketball game and meet some of their favorite players. So he has been instrumental to me in my marketing world when I was in the marketing world, as far as getting my clients to be able to go and go to some basketball games. And for that, I'm truly appreciative, Derrick.
Well, you're always welcome, Mom. You know that. I mean, I do what I can while I can, but it's such a funny thing how people try to separate the business of basketball from their family. I was at the Philadelphia 76ers game. Me, Maisha, and the kids drove up. Tony Allen called my daughter and my son down from the stands in the middle of the game just to dap my son up and give my daughter a kiss. He's on the bench. He just came out of the game and he knew when we were sitting. He called them down. That was one of the biggest moments of my career because when people do things that they don't have to do, that right there for me justifies the relationship.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I've always made my kids and my family a part of what I was doing. Jared Allen comes to town, we all go to dinner. I don't just go to dinner with them. I take the kids to dinner in town. I take my wife. All of my clients know my wife and my kids. Well, they used to. Now, my kids are grown. My son's working. My daughter's in school, and my wife don't feel like going all the time. So, but no, I
So,
always made them a part.
so Derrick, that was a very important. That's why I brought that up. I wanted to know, let people know in the business that it's important to include your family, regardless of what field you're in. But I also wanted to bring up this point because I had a friend of mine's son that was interested in being a sports agent. And I don't know if that interest is still there. I don't know if he made the right connections. But if you were sitting in front of a group of young men or women that were interested in being a sports agent, what would be the advice that you would tell them or how to get started? And I know you mentioned earlier that even though you major in sports management, that doesn't necessarily make you the best sports manager or sports agent, but there are other fields that you can go into within that business. So as far as the communication, in charge of the communication, things like that. But what would you tell aspiring young people looking into going into that field?
Well, my first question to a lot of those kids that want to be in the field that I'm in is why? Now, that question seems small, but it's very, very large because some people come in saying, look, because you can make a lot of money, or I like sports, or, I just want to be around the game. Well, listen, you're not going to make a lot of money, not initially, number one. If you love sports, it comes on TV all the time. If you want to be around the game, get your ticket to the game and enjoy yourself as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I have never, ever. Now, understanding, I don't come from a silver spoon at all. Far from it. Not even a wooden spoon. But you can't chase money in this business. I've never chased money. I've never chased money. I've always chased the dream. And the success that I've had financially has come because of the dream that I'm chasing. Do you guys remember there's a game called Whack-A-Mole at the arcades where the moles come up, you got to try to hit the mole wherever he jumps up. That's what it's like chasing money. The money's going to be over here today, tomorrow's going to be over there, then next week's going to be over here, and you're going to be constantly chasing money. You're going to run yourself crazy like a hamster wheel, chasing money, and you'll probably never get it. You have to figure out what your dream is and your goal is.
Yes.
Set that on the wall and chase that. And all the blessings that come along with it, you'll receive it. And that's just how I function. So many people want to be in this business because of what they think is the glitz and the glamour. No addition, ask the question, can you stand the rain? There's more rain than sunshine in this business. Trust me. So I get mixed reviews on that because people say you're killing somebody's dream, or you're not glamoring or making it pretty enough for them to actually chase it. And that's not the reason I do it. I do it because you need to see the real aspect of what you're doing. Don't just get in this business because you want to be rich. Heck, Mom, am I rich?
No, not by far.
I'm just rich in spirit because
Amen.
I love what I do.
Yes, you
I
are. Yes, you
absolutely
are.
love it.
Yes, you are.
So my whole thing is chase the dream.
I think the honesty and knowing the process, because there's nothing wrong in chasing a dream for 10 years and then realizing, oh man, this is not for me. So knowing going in that the process is not a get rich quick thing that, and like you said, the glamour of being at the games and talking to Magic Johnson, or being at invited to the Globe, the Globe Awards or something like that. But it's a process, and a lot of young people now want to get it right away. And in any field, it's a process that you have to go through, and that process helps you grow. The ups and downs, make the person that you eventually become. So I appreciate you. If you were in front of those kids, I appreciate the honesty, especially that first question you asked: why do you want to get into this?
Yes.
Is it for your love of the sports? Is I want to help somebody? And that will be the process. That'd be the beginning process of, do I really want to pursue this dream?
And you know, Slim, and
go ahead, Mom.
and it's also building those relationships, because these guys, you can sign them today and they will leave you tomorrow. So if you don't build a relationship with those guys, you say, oh, wow, I done signed the biggest guy yet. And that guy has gone off to somebody else next time because they don't have a relationship. So relationships are, and I've watched that. I've watched that with Derrick. I've watched that with Derrick's clients. He builds those relationships. He's just like a father to those guys. I mean, they call him all the time. They call him when they're making decisions about getting married. They call him when they make decisions about buying homes. But that's because he's established that relationship. It's like a parent to a child relationship that he has with each of his clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I gotta let those guys know, I don't want to work, I don't want to eat off you. I want to eat with you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this together. This is a family type of atmosphere. Now, if you want somebody that's gonna lie to you, once again, I'm not the guy. But you know, some people say, well, you gotta have a plan A, you gotta have a plan B, you gotta have a backup plan. I don't believe in that. And I don't say anything negative about the people that believe in it. That's just their view. But you have to have a plan A. Plan A doesn't work, you make another plan A. That plan A doesn't work, you make another plan A. Because a guy told me years ago that an eagle that watches two rabbits won't get either one of them.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to focus in on what you're doing and just go at it. I mean, just try to build yourself on it, man. I didn't come in this game on a platform. Nobody gave me anything in this business. But now after 21, almost 22 years, I'm at a company where I am in control of all of basketball, all of it. Everything basketball comes through me, leaves through me. And I get a chance to build it the way that I see fit under an umbrella with all of the optics, all of the resources, and just able to make a difference. And I'm more excited about that than anything else,
Mm-hmm.
making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have to say this about and HBCU, since you know all of us are HBCU people, and I have to say this about this people, athletes thinking about going to HBCUs. You can make it to that next level going to HBCU because there's so many other things that you learn going to that HBCU as far as what Derrick is talking about, and sometimes the guys that go to the PWIs and they're already experiencing that glamour, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, it's just a next step for them. But HBCUs, you have that process that you go through. And a lot of guys that come through the HBCUs, you know, go on to another career after their basketball careers because of that HBCU experience they had, the hands-on experience they had coming through a HBCU.
Yeah, man, I could not have drawn up my career this way. And I've had some days where, you know, as an athlete, I think that we all have a switch, right? A competitive switch.
Mm-hmm.
Even our everyday lives. I mean, it can be just as smooth as ever, but when someone challenges you in a way, you hit that switch and it becomes, I'm gonna do this regardless. Whether you believe it or not, this is what I'm doing. I lived off that switch for so long. Like when things weren't going well, I hit the switch and nothing's gonna stop me from moving forward. When you tell me I can't get this done, I hit the switch because I'm gonna get it done. It may not be the typical way of getting it done, but my mindset is to get it done. And there's a lot of, if you care in this business, there's gonna be a lot of heartache. But you don't have to win every battle to win the war.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick, how
You
did
don't
you
have to
go
win every
about
battle.
establishing relationships with all 30 of the general managers in basketball?
Just not being afraid to approach them. I mean, I look at everybody as an individual. I have worked with so many of them. And at this point, if you even ask any general manager in this business if they know me, they will tell you, yeah. And they'll probably say somewhat of the same things like, he's a grinder, he's always working, he's a good guy, because that's how I present myself. I do know this. A lot of general managers will come and go. I can represent a player till I'm 80 years old, whether it's overseas or in the NBA. This is something that I can do forever. But those relationships that you have with the general managers will help you as you get clients and may need them, because it's always better to do business with someone that you appreciate, because they hate you and they just dislike you as a person. They will make your negotiation a living hell. And there's nothing you can do about it. So it's like, hey man, they're human like me. I just did $100 million deal for Jared Allen this summer. And the general manager, a guy by the name of Kobe Altman, we've been friends for several years now. It was a good negotiation. Hard, but it was never disrespectful. He would have his view, I would have my view. And we were able to communicate as friends, just doing business. But I do know that if I did not have the relationships, that negotiation would have gone way left. And Jared's happy. He's making $100 million over 5 years, fully guaranteed. He's happy.
And he is your son.
Jared
Jared is your son, I must say.
That's my guy. We talk all the time. But what
I
do, Jared did a article when he was in Brooklyn. And I was impressed by the way he expressed himself. And they asked him about his agent. He said one thing he appreciates about his agent is that his agent allows him to be himself. Doesn't try to change who he is as a person. And that's all I do. I mean, I approach him, we talk, I give him my view on things. Before I leave, every time before I leave, I say, hey, do you need anything? Are you good? And that's how we always end our sessions, whether it's on the phone or in person. But just allowing the person to be their individual self. I don't ever want you to feel like you have to change something in the room, ever. And I don't ever want you to say, you see me 40 feet away and you go the other direction. I don't want you to do that. I'm always going to be authentic. I'm always going to be me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to steal anything from you. I'm just not into that. I'm into growing, because when you grow, I grow. But it has to be, in my opinion, it has to be a team concept. And too many agents don't want that. These agents come in, I'm telling you, they're going to tell you what the business is. They're not going to teach you what the business is. I want to teach you. I want to educate you. This is why we're doing this, because it will yield that. But they could say people have too much faith in us because, let's use Jared's situation. He made $100 million. But if he wasn't playing well, I couldn't have gotten him $100 million.
Exactly.
I'm not a genie. And these agents make you think, well, I can get you paid. That is such a misconception. I can get you paid if you're playing at a certain level. If you're the 15th man on a 15-man roster, you will not make $20 million. Not gonna happen. So let's lock in. Let's build your brand. Let's build who you are as a person, a player, and let's pray for the best. It's simple. But these guys get caught up in getting their butt kissed, and you're the best, and you're gonna kill this business. You're gonna do great, man. Listen, only God knows what's in store for these kids. I'm just here as a resource. I'm here to give you information. If the rules change, I'm here to show you the rules. If the coach, if you're having a problem with your coach, I'm here to help you navigate through that problem. But as far as making you a player, you're already a player. I can tell you the things you need to do to get better. And you look at, oh, he gave me $50,000. Well, there's no such thing as free money. So if he gave you 50 grand, watch your bank statements. Because he's gonna get it back. He's gonna get it back. So it's just the misconception of what we do. I just try to represent my guys with the utmost respect and professionalism that I can. But I'm letting you know that I'm a real guy, just like you are.
We're going to have to sort of wrap it up, but
Okay.
the time when everybody makes their statements if they want to, and I want to say the people that young people that are looking at this occupation, you know, today they got some of the meat and potatoes of of what it takes to be successful in this business, and it takes drive, sacrifice, and commitment. So we appreciate you coming on and telling it like it is, like, you know, the young folks say. So, and, you know, so people will really look at this field and think about, is that the route they want to travel? Really?
Yeah. It's tough business. Now,
Yeah.
if you believe in yourself and this is something that you really want to do, I would say go after it. I mean, foot in, 10 toes down, go at it. But
But
if it's
no,
something that you're not sure about, you know, hey, might want to think twice.
You
Think
know,
twice.
thanks for coming on the show this morning, for one. And the pearls that you've given us also extend to any kind of business that anybody perceives. And I think that the bigger piece is what makes me reflect on and of everything you've said is that you're doing it the right way, but the better way is to involve your family, because I look at my own career and I've looked at some other folks that have been highly successful in their careers. They get to the end, when we all get to the end, and when they stand on the stage at the retirement side, they're by themselves getting that last gold watch. And then so though you have gained the money, status, or whatever, but if you are there by yourself, then you have not gotten nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And so that is a statement by itself. And so keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep doing what
I
you're doing.
appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, and I definitely
Now, wait
want
a
to
minute,
say,
my son in love,
yes, yes, ma'am.
I thank you so very much. And I knew just from the pearls of wisdom that you share with us on a daily basis that you were going to be an outstanding guest today on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Now, Crystal wanted me to let you know that she's watching in Italy. So she said she's watching in Italy. And Patsy Hines, who is one of our trusted people who watch us daily, she says, hit the switch and get it done. Relationships and integrity is what it's all about. So I want to thank you, Derrick. You never cease to amaze me. I'm glad I met you that day at Norcom High School. I'm glad you met my daughter and y'all got married. So you got a great family. And for that, I'm thankful as well. But thank you for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And as I told you before, for those people in your office who would like to see this, they can go to Portsmouth Coffee Talks YouTube page once this is over, and it will be on the YouTube page forever. So you can always go there and watch it. Portsmouth Coffee Talk. So go ahead, Derrick.
Well, I want to thank all three of you guys that even have me on your show. I appreciate it, and it's definitely a pleasure. I'd like to tell Crystal grazie. That's one of the words I've learned. So in-law, grazie.
Grazie.
And to everyone who's watching, especially the young people, I will definitely say, just stay true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change who you are for a dime. I catch a lot of flack from some people when I come back to Portsmouth because I go to certain places in Portsmouth to visit family that's not the safest place, but I'm not there to stay. I'm there to pop my head in, show love, and I leave because I'm always going to be me. And my family has been behind me 100% throughout my entire career. So for me to disrespect them and somewhat leave them behind, that's something I refuse to do. So stay true to yourself. Understand the grind doesn't stop no matter what level you're on. And if I can ever be an assist or a resource to anybody, I'm open. You can email me at dpowell@qcsports.com. I'm always willing to help.
And your wife,
Yep.
who's supposed to be in classroom now, she's watching. She wants you to know that she is watching as well.
2 times, babe. 2 times.
Thanks, Maisha. Thanks again, and we appreciate you coming on. And don't forget to watch next week as we approach the Thanksgiving. We have Dr. Ernestine Duncan on to talk about being thankful and other mental health issues as the holidays approach.
Oh, wait, and let me
Okay.
just say one thing too, Slim. Being that
Sure.
this is the holiday season coming up, Derrick took Thanksgiving from me, and he started preparing Thanksgiving for his side of the family and my side of the family. And we would all come together at one church location, and he would have all the foods that we would need. I didn't want to give up Thanksgiving because that was my time to shine, but I gave it up to Derrick. And so Derrick has always pulled both sides of the family together every Thanksgiving, where he provides the entire meal for everyone and usually it's so much food left over. We then take the food out and give the food to the homeless out in the community. So Derrick is really a binding force within our family as well.
Indeed,
Thanks, Mama.
we've definitely seen the pictures on Facebook.
And
But,
I'm not even on Facebook, son.
Yeah.
I don't even have a Facebook page.
But that's what he said
Yeah.
when we were coming on. I said, Slim, I'm gonna have to send you some pictures because Derrick's not on Facebook. Oh, Slim went to Maisha's page. He got everything he needed from Maisha's page.
to promote this show. But anyway, Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice.
Our community.
In our future.
Take care.
And to
We'll
watch
see
the football team.
Yeah, okay. It's time to
And the
end. Time to
HBCU.
Yeah.
end.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you, Derrick.
Bye-bye.
Love you, man.
You're
I'll
welcome.
talk to you
Love
later.
you too, Mama.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stop the videos.